Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. The Department of Veterans Affairs has been under fire for a year because of an investigation into delays in patient care.
Now, while Green Bay's new VA clinic has not been singled out in that investigation, a congressman is calling for a separate investigation into the Green Bay clinic. An insider telling Fox 11 Investigates that there is a major delay in getting the clinic fully operational. It's a story Fox 11 Investigates has been looking into for several weeks. We found that after more than a year, not a single surgery has been performed at the surgery center. Here's Robert Hornacek.
In August of 2013, the VA's new Milo C. Hempfner outpatient clinic opened with great fanfare. The new state-of-the-art facility promised to improve medical care for area veterans. But nearly a year and a half later, veterans who need minor surgery still can't have their procedures done at the surgery center that's located inside the clinic.
Is it acceptable to you that that clinic has been open for almost a year and a half and the surgery center is still not open?
No, it's not. And I don't think it should be acceptable to veterans. I don't think it should be acceptable to the taxpayer. I don't think it should be acceptable to anybody.
Congressman Reed Ribble says he has heard from veterans who are satisfied with the regular medical care they're receiving at the clinic. But when a doctor who works at the facility brought up concerns about the surgery center not being up and running, Ribble took action.
Well, the thing I think that most concerned me is the fact that the entire process is moving at a snail's pace. It almost seems like there's just no urgency at all.
On January 22nd, Ribble sent a formal letter to the head of the VA asking for a federal investigation into the Green Bay clinic. The doctor did not just share his concerns with Ribble, he also shared them with Fox 11 Investigates.
There are a large number of surgeries that could be done at this facility that are not being done today.
I sat down with Dr. Per Andaris in early January, 2 weeks before Ribble's letter to the VA secretary. Dr. Andaris was hired by the VA in February of 2014 as the director of surgery. But neither Dr. Andaris nor any other physician has performed any surgeries at the center.
In your estimation, what is the problem inside that clinic?
The biggest problem is incompetence on the administration and absolutely no accountability for their actions to anybody. It has become very clear to me that they are really not interested in opening this surgery center.
Over the course of several months, Dr. Andaris says he had to fight the administrators on basic things like getting surgical scrubs for employees, the installation of eye wash stations, and the proper filing of VA-mandated paperwork.
These administrators are much happier sitting around not doing anything because at least they aren't doing anything that they might get into trouble with. And there is absolutely no pressure from anywhere to get this done. I never had anybody from either the local administration wonder when we are going to be open.
Dr. Andaris didn't last long as the director of surgery. He says he resigned last October after another manager was suspended and eventually fired.
When I saw this absolute injustice being done, I simply could not continue to support that surgery program, so I resigned in protest.
Despite all that, Dr. Andaris still works part-time at the VA clinic, seeing patients 3 days a week.
Why did you want to go public with this?
I am so frustrated at the lack of motivation by the administration to get this going. I am so frustrated by the tremendous amount of taxpayer dollars that are being wasted. And I find it very difficult to look at a veteran's eye and tell him, no, I can't do the surgery that you have to do because of the incompetence of this administration.
The VA has hired 15 employees for the surgery center, and according to the VA, the salaries for those employees add up to $1.3 million. But no surgeries have been done in the 6 state-of-the-art operating rooms. Fox 11 Investigates also asked the VA for the total annual costs for the surgery center, but a VA spokesman says those figures aren't available.
What do they do all day?
Well, they're organizing, they're practicing, they're doing drills.
But they're not doing surgery.
They are not doing any surgery at all.
I took Dr. Andaris' complaints to the VA for an explanation. In response, the VA provided Dr. Shiloh Ramos to answer our questions.
There are always going to be bumps in the road when you're starting a new facility. There's always going to be challenges, and they have to be worked through. And I think we have been working through those.
Dr. Ramos is the Associate Chief of Staff at the Green Bay Clinic. I sat down with Dr. Ramos the day before Ribble's letter was sent to the VA secretary. What are those employees doing now since they can't do surgeries?
Sure. We've worked with those employees to utilize them in some of the other areas of our clinics. For example, some of them have worked in Milwaukee.
Dr. Ramos says the VA expected it to take time to open the surgery center. According to the VA, when the clinic opened in August of 2013, there was no set date for the surgery center to open. 1 year later, in August of 2014, the clinic received the certification it needed from the national VA to begin surgeries. At that point, staff at the Green Bay Clinic set a target date for opening the surgery center, mid-December of 2014, 16 months after the clinic opened. But Dr. Ramos says the plan changed when Dr. Andaris resigned about 2 months before the surgery center's tentative opening. Right now, you can't do any surgeries here.
No, we can't do any right now until we have a full-time general surgeon on staff.
When he resigned, he knew that was going to hold up the opening of this clinic.
Yes, that's a VA directive that we've gone over multiple times, absolutely.
After my interview with Dr. Ramos, I went back to Dr. Andaris to find out what he thought of the VA's explanation.
The VA is basically saying it's your fault the surgery center's not open, because they say it would be open if you hadn't resigned.
I am somewhat amazed that they're putting all this burden on me.
When you resigned, did you know that would delay the opening of the surgery center?
Absolutely. But I could not continue to work in that kind of an environment.
Dr. Andaris blames the VA for causing the problems that led to his resignation. Dr. Ramos says the public criticism doesn't bother him.
I think he's entitled to his opinion and to speak his mind, to be honest. And I have no problem with that, and I welcome that from anyone, to be honest. So that's his right. That's the right that our veterans fought for. So all these veterans that we care for, they fought for the right for him to be able to do what he's doing today. So I have no issue with it.
Even when he says the administration here is incompetent and there's no accountability?
I don't agree with that, but he's certainly entitled to his opinion.
Dr. Andaris says it's not about his opinion, it's about the facts.
The facts are, and they're irrefutable, that the surgery center has had employees for 1.5 years and there's not been a single operation being done. And I have to be the one to tell the veterans straight to their face that they can't have surgery in our facility. So those are the facts. Am I angry? Yes, I am. Am I disgruntled? Well, I actually love working with the veterans. In fact, that's the main reason I'm still there. They deserve much better than what they get.
Dr. Andaris says he has filed 2 formal complaints with the VA. Meanwhile, the VA is trying to hire a full-time surgeon. Dr. Ramos says the best case scenario is for the surgery center to open in 5 or 6 months, 2 years after the clinic opened its doors. Dr. Ramos also told me he is aware of Congressman Ribble's letter to the head of the VA, and Dr. Ramos says he looks forward to the opportunity to address the issues with the congressman. For Fox 11 Investigates, I'm Robert Hornacek.